Hey guys, welcome back to Is Your Six Covered? Appreciate you showing up as always. And today we're going to do something that you probably have never seen before. We're going to take apart the Microtech UTX 85, the out the front. Very nice, great knife. These are the kind you would walk around and utilize all day long. Be in your pocket, climbing through sand, getting dirty. This is a good work tool. I mean, having this on you is what you need to do. But with that said, having a lot of pocket lint or a lot of dirt, depending on if you're in construction, whatever the case is, this thing can and will fill up with lint, sand, dirt, whatever the case is. And I'm going to fill this up. I'm going to make it so it does not work. And then I'm going to take it apart and show you guys what's inside. Now, before you go ahead and take this apart, you're going to know that this will void your warranty. So before all that, now Microtech has a great lifetime limited warranty. So send it in if you can. But if you're one of those guys that just has to know what's in here and want to fix it yourself, you're going to have to get a proprietary tool right there. You can get these off of the internet. Whoa, for about 20 bucks. These are a tri-wing. You can kind of see a little bit of that, but Microtech makes this nut kind of designed like this so that you guys don't go in there and screw with it, because it will void the warranty. Send it on back if you can. But again, like I said, you want to know what's in here, I'm going to do the hard part for you. I'm going to show you what's in here. That way you don't have to mess it up. You don't have to void your warranty. So let's get started. Just another quick thing, you guys. If you are interested in getting some proprietary tool in order to take this off, I did a quick search real quick, and PVK and E-Knives has them on sale for about 20 bucks. So let's get started. Let's take this apart and see what happens. Okay, so say you're walking along, you're crawling through the sand, your awesome Microtech knife fills up with dirt. Hold on, it's working. Okay. I'm going to try to do this on camera. I'm going to go down a little bit so you guys can see. All right. We're going to get this to fail, even if we have to add more. I don't know if you guys can see that dirt coming there. Yeah, that's a good view. Now fill this up. Oh. I'm going to tap it on the ground so it goes in more. Not the ground, but you get it all worked in there. All right, here we go. Okay, it's full, as you can see. You saw a little puff of the dirt come out. We are going to go ahead and take this apart now. You know that it's at the point of where we need to basically blow some air in it, try to get all the main particles out of it, and then we're going to want to maintain it, clean it, and lube it, and get it back to a working order. All right, so say we got to the point where your knife is not working, okay? We've got enough stuff in there now that it's not working. First thing we want to do is we want to try to get rid of all the particles that's in there. We're going to try to flush it out, get rid of some of this. I guess I should bring you guys down here. We're going to try to knock as much of that dirt out as we can. We're going to see if we can get it to work. We're going to try to pull. Right now it's jammed in there. There's a lot of stuff in there. Got a little bit out. Some more stuff came out. You can tell it's not working correctly. We're going to go ahead and use the recommended oil, rim oil, for the Microtech knives, if you've seen that in the video. Basically, we're going to try to flush this thing out. Utilize as much as you can. And then we're going to blow it out afterwards. And we're going to do this. You can tell it's working. Sounding pretty good. You can tell it's a little bit dirty. We're probably still going to want to do it. We're going to blow it out. We'll continue on with that. For the sake of the video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take it apart anyways to show you guys, but we're going to do that. We're going to keep it upside down. We're going to keep trying to get all that material to fall out. And it's definitely sounding a lot better. We're going to blow it out again with some air. We'll do that off camera, just to keep the noise down. So that's what you'd want to do in order to at least try to get it back in service and operable again. And pretty much this thing's basically back in action, but for the sake of the video, we are going to get to the point where we'll tear this apart so you guys get a chance to see what's inside. All right, it's time to dive into this. So here we go. I'm going to hold the blade first because it is a sharp object. I'm going to make sure that it's loose. I'm going to go ahead and use a proprietary tri-wing to go ahead and undo the screws. So first off, I'm getting the first one.
There is a total of, I believe it to be 5. And just taking a few minutes.
All right, I'm gonna hold this all together so that the two pieces do not come apart. There is a top plate and a bottom plate, if you want to call it that. I'm gonna go ahead and hold that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squeeze on the trigger and put pressure inward while pulling the top of the plate off. And now you're gonna see that there's a bunch of parts in here. And these parts have a few names, so we'll go ahead and get started on it. First, I'm going to show you guys the trigger assembly. There's a spring in there, so we're going to make sure not to lose that because that is very important. And then we're going to have the slider. The slider here is the part I have my hands on right now, and there's going to be a spring inside with a front leg and a top and a rear leg mount. So you got a front leg mount and a rear leg mount with a spring inside of it. We're going to take pressure off of it while holding the bottom or the rear leg. Place it in order. That way I can kind of keep track of all my stuff. Oops, sorry I bumped the camera. Now what we got is, let me grab my needle nose. And we're going to do the stop pin. And the stop pin, I reach in with my needle nose pliers. I'm going to pull that out. That's just basically keeps the blade from shooting out. That's what it's going to stop on. I'll show you what it looks like and what it stops on. I'll pull the blade out and you'll see I got this serrated. Now I'm going to point to the front and rear lock. So what happens is that's the front lock and there's a spring in there. So you don't want to flip this over. You do not want to, and that's the rear lock. You don't want to flip it over and tap it because you're going to have two springs in there that are made specifically for that knife, and you don't want to mess with that. So always leave it in that order or whatever. So now what we'll do is we'll have a chance to get in there and clean out the dirt. We're going to utilize rim oil and really get in there, clean out any other debris that might be in there, and make sure that everything's looking good, and make sure the blade's looking well good. We're going to, I'll wipe it off and make sure that it's clean. Other than that, there's really not much to it. It is it's important that you clean it, and we're going to lubricate it at the end of it. Other than that, it's a pretty simple deal. I'll kind of zoom in here and give you guys a chance to see what kind of, basically what's involved. So you can see a little bit of springs. You can see I got the, I'll just kind of scan around a little bit. I'm showing you guys the slider right now, the front leg and the rear leg mounts. See the spring in the middle. You see there's a spring for the trigger. The proprietary tool there, basically the top cover and the bottom are the main housing. So I'm going to go ahead and slide. Let me zoom out real quick. I'm going to put the blade back into it, and I'm going to make sure that I move the front stop up so that the blade will actually continue on into its channel where it needs to be. Make sure that everything's looking good, that it's sliding nice and clean, and you don't hear any grit or sand or any obstructions. Then from there, I'm going to replace the stop pin. There you go. So I put it back in there, and that's where it'll stop. It's going to hit inside of the aluminum housing is a groove, basically where that pin will actually hit to keep the blade from falling out. Now here's where I'm going to grab the slider. I want to make sure it's all cleaned off and looking good. And we're going to go ahead, and this is probably one of the most tricky parts, is I'm going to go ahead and put on the front and rear leg mount. And I'm going to start with the rear. See if my cameraman can get a good position. Let me see. Show him that part right there. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and click the rear first and then pull up with my left hand. And I don't want to pull over. I don't see how tricky that is. I don't want to pull up over and go too far and extend on that spring more than I have to. So that's the reason why I want to take my time, be patient, and be cautious while I'm doing it. So it happens. The spring is basically popped off, so I'm just going to make sure and take care not to lose anything. Having slippery gloves here, it's kind of tricky, but you know, we're gonna battle through this and make it work. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the whole slide, and I'm gonna put it in its track basically, and I'll have the camera person zoom in. So you can see me sliding that across there, and that feels nice and smooth. Everything seems to be in perfect working order. And then I'm going to go ahead and assemble. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the trigger. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what I'm going to call it for the video, basically. There's going to be a track that I want to put that in, so I'm going to put that far edge on the track as I pivot it over. That way it'll capture the spring. Everything's looking good. So that tension that I have on the button, I'm going to continue to push inward on it as I replace the top cover and make sure that it's worked. So right now we're wondering if it works. We know that the front trigger is working up and back very smoothly, so we know that it's working. Now that I've engaged the blade again, I have tested it. I make sure that it was working, so everything's in proper working order. Now it's mostly just I need to replace the screws in order to put it back together. And then with that said, that's how you're going to service the UTX 85 most out the front. Alright, so some tips for you guys. When you get ready to put this all back together, on the screws itself, you're going to want to put some type of blade, like a brake cleaner or something that's going to take off the impurities off of the screw. And this is where we're going to want to go back and do a little bit of red Loctite. Now, do not over tighten the screws. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting 3 screws in it. I'm just confirming that everything is lined up right, working perfectly. This is where I would normally put some red Loctite on. I would have cleaned the screws. That way it'll be nice and work as every great Microtech should. Perfect. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hopefully this has helped you out. Please remember that you will void the warranty if you do this. Other than that, this is kind of one of those videos, do at your own risk. But I appreciate you guys showing up, and I'm glad I could assist you in trying to make this happen. So with that said, like, share, and subscribe. See you guys on the next video, and stay safe, my friends.